Good morning, friends, and my dear students. Today we will learn about diarrheal diseases. So, what is diarrhea? Diarrhea basically है क्या? That is when the consistency of the stool has been changed or the frequency has been altered. Although it has been written that if diarrhea is the passage of 3 or more loose or liquid stools per day, but it is being said that there can be a different frequency of different person. So if you notice there is alteration, अगर आपकी frequency of passing stool has been changed or the consistency has been changed, it is being said as diarrhea. So it is not specifically being said कि 3 or more, because the frequency can be of different person can be different. Now, the diarrhea has been categorized into two categories, that is the acute diarrhea or the chronic diarrhea. Acute diarrhea usually it finishes within 7 days. The patient get corrected, and rarely it can be extended up to 14 days. So mainly आपका within 7 days की range में acute diarrhea रहता है, and chronic diarrhea usually more than 14 days. That is called as the persistent diarrhea also. Now, what is dysentery? That is very frequently being asked question in the Viva question. That is, what is the difference between diarrhea and dysentery? So, in diarrhea, that is only the alteration, change in the frequency and the consistency of passing stool. Dysentery में क्या होगा? There will be blood. So, there will be blood in the stool sample along with the mucus. The patient may also complain of pain in the abdomen or tenesmus. So that is the dysentery. Now comes the gastroenteritis. It is a syndrome which is characterized by gastrointestinal symptoms like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and abdominal discomfort. Now, what are the risk factors for this diarrhea? So there could be age, immunodeficiency, increased exposure to enteropathogens, or sometimes the diarrhea may be due to the antibiotic associated diarrhea. So you are taking antibiotic for some reason, for some infection, and as these antibiotics they alter the gut flora. So gut में जो आपके helpful bacteria हैं, they are also getting killed. So उसकी वजह से आपका antibiotic associated diarrhea is there. Now, what are the bacterial causes for diarrhea or dysentery? That is the Vibrio cholera. So they usually cause the diarrhea only. They never cause the dysentery. But Vibrio parahemolyticus is one of that can cause dysentery also. So Vibrio cholera, I'm talking only about the Vibrio cholera that will cause only diarrhea. So the cause should be specific. Which one is causing diarrhea, which one is causing dysentery? Because when the patient comes to you in a OPD, so at that time this history will help you, like the patient is complaining that only the loose stool is coming and there is no presence of blood or there is no mucus is there, so you can think of the causative agents for the diarrhea only. But if it is a complaint of dysentery, so pathogens will change. So Vibrio cholera only causing diarrhea, then enterotoxigenic E. coli. So diarrheogenic E. coli strains there comes a short note also on that. Viva questions are there. What are the diarrheogenic E. coli strains? That is the enterotoxigenic E. coli, enteropathogenic E. coli, enteroaggregative E. coli, enteroinvasive E. coli, enterohemorrhagic E. coli. So this enteroinvasive, as the name suggests, invasive कर रही है वो. So it is causing dysentery. जहाँ पे भी invasion होगा, वहाँ पे red RBCs and mucus will be there. Enterohemorrhagic, name ही बता रहा है कि it causing hemorrhagic. So EIEC and EHEC is only those which are causing the diarrhea as well as dysentery, but other three are causing only the diarrhea. That is the enterotoxinic, enteropathogenic, and enteroaggregative. Then comes the Shigella. Shigella always cause dysentery. It is always invasive in nature. Shigella always cause dysentery. Then Salmonella. Salmonella mostly cause diarrhea. It can cause dysentery also. So दोनों कर सकता है Salmonella. Then Campylobacter can cause both. Then Yersinia species, Clostridium difficile, then your this Aeromonas and Plesiomonas, they are also causing the diarrhea only. So few of them are causing the persistent diarrhea. Persistent diarrhea usually not being asked. Mainly the causative agents for particularly for the diarrhea and particularly for the dysentery should be known properly. Then the viruses. So those for the bacterial pathogen. Now among the viruses, rotavirus is the most common causative agent for causing diarrhea up till 2 years of age. So बच्चों में 2 साल तक के बच्चों में most common cause of diarrhea is rotavirus. ठीक है, सो इसकी वैक्सीन इसलिए दी जाती है बच्चों में. इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू गिव द रोटावायरस वैक्सीन ऑल्सो. सो इट इज़ द मोस्ट कॉमन कॉजेटिव एजेंट. एंड अडल्ट में जो है दैट इज द नोरवॉक वायरस अमंग द वायरस जो है नोरवॉक. बट रोटावायरस अमंग चाहे बैक्टीरियल पैथोजन हो चाहे आपके दिस वायरसेस. सो रोटावायरस मोस्ट कॉमन कॉज है टिल 2 years. देन और कौन कौन कर सकता है, दैट इज एडिनोवायरस टाइप 40 एंड 41. एडिनोवायरस के बहुत सारे टाइप्स हैं. सो इसका जो 40 एंड 41 दैट कैन कॉज द डायरिया ऑल्सो. कैलिसी वायरस, एस्ट्रोवायरस, साइटोमेगालोवायरस. So cytomegalovirus can cause the dysentery also. Then among the protozoa and helminths, so Giardia lamblia is very important and Amoeba histolytica. So these two are very important. So when we are having any contaminated water, if we have taken contaminated food and water intake, so at that that water is contaminated with this cyst. So the person can get the infection, Giardia lamblia and the Entamoeba histolytica. So Giardia causes only diarrhea, whereas the Entamoeba histolytica can cause diarrhea as well as dysentery. So dysentery is very common in case of the Entamoeba histolytica. Then comes Cryptosporidium parvum, then Isospora belli, Cyclospora. So these three are very important in the HIV patient, because in HIV patient these are the opportunistic infection and they cause a very severe diarrhea, no dysentery. They are causing the diarrhea, and the frequency of passing stool and the loss of water can be in liters. So in liters the patient is losing the water. That is very important. So Cryptosporidium parvum, Isospora, and they all are acid fast structure. Cryptosporidium, Isospora, Cyclospora. These three are, they are also called as coccidian parasites. So they are causing diarrhea in the HIV infection. They are the opportunistic infection. Then comes Balanterium coli, Strongyloids. So they can also cause the diarrhea. So very important, Giardia and Amoeba. Among the HIV, three are very important, and most important among them also Cryptosporidium is very common. Now what is the pathogenesis for this diarrhea? So there are different host factors like personal hygiene. So if the person is not taking proper hygiene, if they are not having the good water supply, if the water supply is contaminated with these pathogens, so that could lead to this diarrhea or the dysentery. Then the gastric acidity. So this gastric acidity will judge whether the pathogen will survive or will be killed in the stomach only. So that depends upon what is the dose of that pathogen. जैसे आपका शिगेला का इन्फेक्शन हुआ, so शिगेला में या आपका जैसे जियार्डिया का इन्फेक्शन आया, so उनकी जो chances होने का है that is very high, because they, even if the 10, that is the, if the number of bacteria or this cyst are even 10 in number, so that is very low, very less number. So even 10 bhi hai, so they can cause infection. That is decide. And if you are getting the infection of this E. coli or other diarrheogenic pathogens, so their high load is needed, then only they can cause the infection. So that is depending upon the your gastric acidity as well as on the load of the pathogen. Then intestinal motility, enteric microflora, and your immunity also. Now this is very important. What is the infectious dose of these enteric pathogens? So some of them you should know, like Shigella. Shigella has a very less infectious dose. That means very few pathogens are needed to cause the infection. That means 10 bacteria is enough to cause the infection, 10 to 100. Similarly, you can notice the Campylobacter jejuni are also 100 to 10 to the power 6. Then Giardia lamblia, that is also 10 to the power 2 cysts, 10 to 100. Similarly, in the Entamoeba histolytica. So therefore, these cyst infection is very common in the children. If you have not taken proper water intake, proper good water supply is there, that is if there is infected water is there, easily the children can get the infection. Then bacterial enteropathogens, that is the attachment. So there are different ways how these entropathogens are causing the disease, that is either they are attaching or adhering to the intestinal mucosa, then or they are producing the toxins, that is the enterotoxin, cytotoxin or neurotoxin, or they are invading the mucosa. So here in this slide we can see that in case of mucosal adherence, what they are doing, they are just binding, attaching, then they are colonizing and effacement of the mucosa, and they are responsible, these pathogens are responsible for secretory diarrhea. And what organisms come under this? Enteropathogenic, enteroaggregative, enterotoxinic E. coli. Then comes the toxin production. So certain bacteria are causing action by means of toxins, like enterotoxin, that is the fluid secretion without damaging the mucosa. So यहाँ पे सिर्फ fluid का secretion बढ़ जाएगा आपके intestinal lumen में, but mucosa को कोई damage नहीं है, watery diarrhea होगा, and that is usually seen in the Vibrio cholera. We have learned in the Vibrio cholera topic also that the toxins called the toxin is produced, and that also behave in the similar way that like the enterotoxigenic E. coli. So दोनों की टॉक्सिन सेम रहती हैं, बट विब्रियो की 100 टाइम मोर पोटेंट है, इसलिए उसमें वाटर लॉस ज़्यादा होता है. Then Salmonella, Campylobacter, so they all are producing enterotoxin. Then cytotoxin क्या करती हैं? वो डैमेज करती हैं म्यूकोसा को. दे कॉज इन्फ्लेमेटरी कोलाइटिस और डिसेंट्री. तो जहाँ पे आपका डैमेज होना शुरू हो जाएगा वहाँ पे आपकी डिसेंट्री हो जाएगी. सो लाइक शिगेला डिसेंट्री, ई कोलाई का O157, that is the H7. Then the Clostridium difficile, then Salmonella. Then comes the neurotoxin, that is they are producing the action on the autonomic nervous system. So that is by Bacillus cereus, Staphylococcus enterotoxin, Clostridium botulinum. And the last is the mucosal invasiveness, that is penetration into the mucosa. So जो आपके cytotoxins है वहाँ पे they are not invading, वो सिर्फ damage कर रहे हैं. But in the case of mucosal invasive, they are penetrating into the mucosa and destroying the epithelial cell. So इसमें आपका clearly dysenteric syndromes आएंगे, and Shigella dysentery, Shigella सारे Shigella की species हैं, Shigella sonnei, Shigella flexneri, then enteroinvasive E. coli. Now what is antibiotic associated diarrhea? That is caused by Clostridium difficile. It is also called as the hospital acquired diarrhea because in hospital we are having the lots of antibiotics. So it is also called as. So antibiotic, what the antibiotic do? They alter the normal flora. So जो आपका normal flora है वो disturb हो जाएगा, and that can cause. So few antibiotics are there which are associated with this diarrhea. That is the clindamycin, ampicillin, amoxicillin, cephalosporins. Now comes the diarrhea in HIV and AIDS patients. So diarrhea is one of the most presenting complaint of the patient with AIDS. Parasitic infection is very common as an opportunistic infection in AIDS, and Cryptosporidium parvum, that mainly cause the chronic diarrhea. Now comes to lab diagnosis. So as it is a diarrhea or dysentery, the sample will be the stool sample. So what is important, that the sample should be right sample should be, and it should be at time. So if you are getting the sample within that time, you can easily appreciate the trophozoites which are motile. So we have to also look for these. So with time the motility will be hampered for these trophozoites, and the sample should be properly collected, it should be properly stored if it is needed, and it should be transported in time to the lab. So when we are taking the stool sample, usually should be before the antibiotic therapy, and we usually don't take rectal swab, but in case if we are in situation where voided stool sample not feasible, so in that case we can take the rectal swab also, but you have to speak only for the stool sample. Stool sample should be in your mind, we need the stool sample. So how to collect the specimen? That is clean sterile container of sufficient size and should have a tight fitting and leak proof lid. So that should be screw cap. So properly after collecting the sample should be properly tightened, and avoid the contamination of stool with urine. So that is the container, and after collecting them properly screw cap. So that you can see, that is a specimen transportation bag. So after collecting it, proper labeling it, On the label, all the details of the patient should be there and should be kept in this bag. Now specimen collection for the parasites. So same procedure is there, that is a fresh stool specimen is needed, and usually we need that for the wet mount, and we usually avoid this preservative, so we want that the sample should be on time. For viruses it is the same, but transport immediately to lab or in the viral transport medium. So 250 gram approximate per ml of the following sample is collected. It is being this is being for if there is a gastroenteritis. So gastroenteritis means it could be a case of food poisoning also. So there we can have the vomitus also, that food sample which the patient has eaten, or the water sample if we are suspecting that could be the cause for the disease. So how to transport the specimen? That is the specimen should reach to the lab within 30 minutes. If the delay is more than 2 hours, then transport media is needed. Different transport media are like Cariblair transport, modified Cariblair, buffered glycerosaline media, alkaline peptone water. So different. So transfer at least 5 ml of the sample into the medium. Now, how to process of the sample? So appropriate this diagnostic approach should be the patient age. We have to take proper history of the patient, that is patient age, duration of illness, केयरफुल हिस्ट्री लाइक ट्रैवल हिस्ट्री है क्या, कोई फूड हिस्ट्री, अगर गैस्ट्रोएंटेराइटिस का है तो लास्ट नाइट कोई पार्टी हैव टेकन फूड आउटसाइड, or any other person is also having the similar symptom, so that will go for the indication that there should be cause of any food poisoning. Antibiotic history, because sometimes the diarrhea could be due to the antibiotic, so history is very important. You can easily assess by the history. And physical examination, it is very important whether there is a dehydration or not, and severe dehydration, because depending on that you have to immediately, before knowing the pathogen, you have to immediately go for the IV fluids if severe dehydration is there. Now comes the how we will process for the stool sample. This is the most important slide, that is अब आपके stool sample it come to your lab. So we have two parts in the diagnostic, that is a macroscopic and microscopic. मैक्रोस्कोपी जो आप नेकेड आई से देख रहे हैं कि स्टूल सैंपल जो है वो क्या क्या उसमें फीचर्स हैं, कलर कैसा है स्टूल का, कंसिस्टेंसी कैसा है, इज इट अ वाटरी, लाइक जैसे आपका विब्रियो का जब इन्फेक्शन होता है विच इज कॉजिंग द कॉलरा, सो वहां पे आपका क्या टर्म बोली जाती है, दैट इज द राइस वाटरी, मतलब जैसे राइस का वाटर होता है ऐसा आपका स्टूल सैंपल. सो इट विल बी वेरी इजी टू नो. सो कंसिस्टेंसी, प्रेजेंस ऑफ ब्लड है कि नहीं है, म्यूकस, पस एंड द वर्म्स. सो वर्म्स, अगर कुछ वर्म्स के साइज they are bigger in size, so that you can easily appreciate by your naked eye. So macroscopy में you have seen all these things. Now comes to the microscopy. So in microscopy, first of all the three things are in your mind. Bacterial cause भी हो सकता है, viral cause भी हो सकता है, parasitic cause भी हो सकता है. So in case we, what is the first step, that is we are going for the wet mount. So wet mount में क्या करेंगे, आपने you have taken a slide and you put a drop of normal slide, and very small amount of stool is being taken, mixed in the normal slide. Put a cover slip, examine under 10x. If you are suspecting any structure, अगर आपको वहाँ पे कोई भी ऐसा structure दिख रहा है, ट्रोफोजॉइड दिख रहा है या कोई cyst if you are noticing, so that you have to see in the wet mount. or the eggs, पैरासाइट के एग्स दिख रहे हैं, सो दैट यू कैन सी इन द 10x. 10x में अगर आपको अप्रिशिएट कर रहे हैं देन यू विल कंफर्म अंडर द 40x. देन सेकेंड माउंट जो हम बनाते हैं, तो वेट माउंट में दो आते हैं, एक नॉर्मल सलाइन माउंट आएगा और एक आएगा आयोडीन माउंट. तो आयोडीन माउंट जो होता है वो बेसिकली होता है दैट इज फॉर द सिस्ट. जो आपका वेट माउंट नॉर्मल सलाइन माउंट होता है दैट इज फॉर द एग्स, क्योंकि देयर वी हैव टू सी फॉर द बाइल स्टेन एग्स एंड नॉन बाइल स्टेन. सो अगर हम उसको आयोडीन माउंट में अप्रिशिएट करेंगे, सो क्या होगा कि आपके जो एग्स है सारे ही येलो हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि आपकी आयोडीन किस कलर की है, ब्राउन कलर की है. सो ऑल द एग्स विल बी ब्राउन एंड ऑल विल अपीयर एज द बाइल स्टेन. सो बाइल स्टेन एंड नॉन बाइल स्टेन के बेसिस पे ही वी डिफरेंशिएट बिटवीन द डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ एग्स. एग्स किस में आते हैं, दैट इज आपके पैरासिटिक कॉज में, लाइक एस्कैरिस का इन्फेक्शन है, सो ऑल दिस एचनाना का है. सो ऑल दिस वी डिफरेंशिएट इन द नॉर्मल सलाइन माउंट. सो नॉर्मल सलाइन माउंट मेनली आपको एक्स देखने के लिए है, यू वांट टू सी ट्रोफोजोइड्स. In case of the iodine mount, we use for the cyst, like giardia का cyst है, इनका size छोटा होता है as compared to egg, very small. Giardia and Entamoeba histolytica, these are the two cysts which we usually found. एंड ट्रोफोजोइड्स को वी कैन नॉट अप्रिशिएट इन द आयोडीन माउंट, क्योंकि आयोडीन में वो किल हो जाते हैं. देयरफॉर ट्रोफोजोइड्स भी आप नॉर्मल लाइन में ही देख सकते हैं. सो बोथ द माउंट्स यू शुड नो. नॉर्मल लाइन माउंट किस पर्पज के लिए? फॉर द एग्स, फॉर द ट्रोफोजोइड्स, एंड आयोडीन माउंट इज मेनली फॉर द सिस्ट. और क्या कर सकते हैं हम? ग्राम स्टेन कर सकते हैं. सो ग्राम स्टेन में यू कैन सी कि जो नॉर्मली स्टूल का जो ग्राम स्टेन आता है वो चेंज तो नहीं हुआ है. So that is also very important sign. And you can also observe east, अगर east वहाँ पे है, so that you can also notice. So कुछ भी अगर change हुआ है you can see in the gram stain also. Then एक होता है इसमें hanging drop preparation. So this Vibrio cholera has a very darting motility, very fast motility is there. So that you can notice in this the hanging drop preparation. It is very important and we can diagnose on that point also, because if we use anti-flagellar serum, so if the darting motility stops, then it will be confirmatory for the Vibrio. So it is very important to have this hanging drop preparation. So that I have told you. Then sometimes when the parasites are very like these eggs or cysts are very low in concentration, so at that time we can also have the concentration technique that we can use. And another thing we can do, go for the, like I have told you, coccidian parasites मिलते हैं, like HIV की history है, HIV patient का stool sample आया है, so we can think of these coccidian cysts like Cryptosporidium, Isospora. So there we have to go for the modified acid fast staining. So these all things we have to do. मैक्रोस्कोपिक देखा आपने. माइक्रोस्कोपी में सबसे पहले हम वेट माउंट करेंगे, उसमें दो माउंट्स होंगे, नॉर्मल सलाइन माउंट एंड द आयोडीन माउंट. एक ग्राम स्टेन करेंगे. सो वी वांट टू सी कि वो कुछ चेंज हुआ है क्या उसमें. एंड हैंगिंग ड्रॉप प्रिपरेशन वी नोटिस फॉर द डार्टिंग मोटिलिटी. नॉर्मली तो उसमें बैक्टीरिया रहते ही हैं, स्टूल सैंपल में नॉर्मली बैक्टीरिया आर देयर, so they will be motile, but we have to notice for the darting motility. And what is darting motility? That is some bacteria like you have seeing at one position and they are in a very fast way, you cannot trace the path. That is just like the twinkling stars. So the darting motility is totally different. When you will see, you can easily appreciate it. Then also in case of the HIV patients, the coccidians, we can go for the acid fast stain. So these are the different things we can do. और क्या कर सकते हैं? We can go for the culture. So this is very important. Culture किस किस प्लेट पे कर सकते हैं? For the viruses, we can go for the electron microscopy. Although electron microscopes are not available at all the centers, it is available at very specific centers only. Now, what are the medias for the routine stool culture के लिए हम कौन कौन सा करते हैं? तो blood agar, McConkey agar, XLD. So this is the main plate which is for the stool sample XLD, that is a xylose lysine deoxycholate agar. अगर आप stool sample से कोई bacteria isolate करना चाहें तो main is your XLD. और ऐसा कौन सा? That is a Salmonella Shigella agar is also there. Then one is the TCBS, that is the thiosulfate citrate bile salt sucrose agar, that is जो हम यूज करते हैं विब्रियो के लिए. So वो फिर स्पेसिफिक हो जाएगा. और मैकॉन्की अगर. Then we have the enrichment broth. So enrichment broth we have selenite F broth, alkaline peptone water, phosphate buffer saline, camp thioglycolate enrichment broth. अब enrichment broth का क्या पर्पज है? Why we are doing enrichment? क्योंकि जब हम पे स्टूल सैंपल आया, तो उस स्टूल सैंपल में पहले से ही नॉर्मल बैक्टीरिया प्रेजेंट होते हैं जो आपके गट फ्लोरा से आते हैं. अब आपको वहां पे उस पैथोजन बैक्टीरिया को फाइंड आउट करना है. सो दैट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट, बिकॉज जब आप सिंपली सीधा ही स्टूल को कल्चर लगा देते हैं, सो एट दैट टाइम सो मेनी बैक्टीरिया विल ग्रो ऑन योर प्लेट दैट यू विल नॉट एबल टू फाइंड द पैथोजेनिक बैक्टीरिया. तो इसमें हम क्या करते हैं? एनरिचमेंट ब्रॉथ की प्रॉपर्टी होती है, लाइक आई हैव टेकन एनरिचमेंट ब्रॉथ एंड आई हैव एडेड सम वेरी स्लाइट स्टूल सैंपल एंड वी विल कीप इट फॉर 3 to 4 hours. So once this, and then from that sample we will put the on the culture plate. So what will happen in this enrichment broth? That is when so this enrichment broth will will favor the growth of the, it will not favor, but the other bacteria will be silent for some time because they are understanding that enrichment broth. But this enrichment broth is the friend of the pathogenic bacteria. Like APW, alkaline peptone water, is a alkaline in pH. सो यही एक ऐसा बैक्टीरिया है विब्रियो कॉलरा जिसको अल्कलाइन पीएच चाहिए होता है. तो जब आप उसको, अगर मेरे पास विब्रियो कॉलरा का एक पेशेंट आता है, आई एम सस्पेक्टिंग कि इस पेशेंट को कॉलरा है, उसका स्टूल सैंपल से भी मुझे लग रहा है कि बिल्कुल राइस वाटरी स्टूल है. सो व्हाट आई विल डू, मैंने वो स्टूल सैंपल एपीडब्ल्यू में डाल दिया एंड आई हैव केप्ट इन द इंक्यूबेटर फॉर फ्यू आवर्स. देन what will do that this bacteria, agar if vibrio cholerae is present in the sample, so it already know this APW, उसके लिए alkaline pH अलग नहीं है, उसको वही pH सबसे फेवरेट है उसका. so इसको जो फेवरिज्म मिल रहा है विब्रियो को, so it will start multiplying it एंड अदर बैक्टीरिया जो होंगे, क्योंकि वो एकदम से अल्कलाइन पीएच में जब एक्सपोज होंगे, सो दे विल गो इन द इनिबिटरी मोड. सो वो थोड़ी देर के लिए सप्रेस हो जाएंगे, लेकिन आप ज्यादा देर तक उसमें रखेंगे तो वो बैक्टीरिया भी ग्रो कर जाएंगे. सो ये फिक्स टाइम है कि 4 to 5 आवर्स में आपको इसको सब कल्चर करना है, अदरवाइज जो उसका पर्पस है एनरिचमेंट ब्रॉथ का, दैट विल बी लॉस. सो दैट इज, दिस इज एनरिचिंग दैट बैक्टीरिया, इट इज फेवरिजिंग दैट बैक्टीरिया and other bacteria will be in the inhibitory mode at that time. So that is the role of enrichment broth. Like salinite F broth we are using for the salmonella. तो जब आपका salmonella का infection suspect करते हैं, so we go for salinite F, and if we are suspecting for Vibrio cholerae, we are going for the APW. So that you can see the plates. So this is this green and yellow one is the Vibrio cholera, and this is on the TCBS plate. Now, so like I have inoculated the sample on the plates, and next day what we will do, we will check कि like XLD की plate पे and McConkey पे क्या growth आई है, whether the pink colonies are there. So fermenting colonies, they are pink colonies, so we go for pink colonies. अगर उस पर grow करी है तो हम लोग suspect करेंगे कि हाँ इसमें कोई enteric pathogen है, and we go for the same procedure होता है उसका आगे, ग्राम स्टेन करेंगे, we check ग्राम नेगेटिव बेसिल आया है क्या आया है, then we go for the motility also. Simultaneously उसके बायोकेमिकल्स भी लग जाएंगे अकॉर्डिंग टू द सस्पेक्टेड पैथोजन. अगर विब्रियो सस्पेक्ट कर रहे हैं, एपीडब्ल्यू का आपने एनरिचमेंट किया है, बैक्टीरिया ग्रो कर रहा है, अल्कलाइन बाइल साल्ट अगर मीडिया प्लेट पे, देन ग्राम स्टेन करा, मोटिलिटी करी. सो दिस इज वे हाउ वी विल प्रोसीड फॉर द एंट्रिक पैथोजन. बायोकेमिकल भी लगेंगे अकॉर्डिंग टू विब्रियो. अगर साल्मोनेला सस्पेक्ट कर रहे हो, साल्मोनेला की एक्सएलडी पे ग्रोथ आएगी, and you will go for the simultaneous biochemical testing. So final जो होता है biochemical testing के साथ we go for the, that is the serotyping. So वो salmonella, shigella इन सब में विब्रियो में all we have the serotyping. So उसमें एंटीसेरा से रिएक्शन करवाते हैं and we will check कि which serotype is present. Like in case of EIEC, there are many more tests are there. If you are able to learn, वीरोटॉक्सिन्स के लिए अलग से सेल लाइंस पे टॉक्सिसिटी की जाती है. तो जो टॉक्सिन प्रोड्यूसिंग पैथोजन है उनकी टॉक्सिसिटी चेक की जाती है. सो दीज आर द, सो फाइनल कंफर्मेशन जो होता है वो सीरोटाइपिंग से होता है इन फ्यू ऑफ द पैथोजन, साल्मोनेला, शिगेला एंड विब्रियो. देन इन केस ऑफ डायग्नोसिस ऑफ पैरासाइट्स, तो ई हिस्टोलिटिका, जियार्डिया, इनका हम कैसे करते हैं, आपका अगर सेलाइन माउंट में सिस्ट प्रॉपर्ली दिख रहा है, सो इट इज कंफर्मेटरी ओनली. अदर टेस्ट अगर आपको नहीं दिख रहा है, आप सस्पेक्ट कर रहे हैं, यू कैन गो फॉर द एलाइजा, यू कैन गो फॉर लेटेक्स एग्लूटिनेशन. बट पैरासाइट्स में अगर आपने देख लिया है, आपको एग दिख रहे हैं, आपको सिस्ट दिख रहे हैं, सो दे आर द कॉजेटिव एजेंट एंड इट इज कंफर्मेटरी. कॉक्सीडियन जैसे क्रिप्टोस्पोरिडियम में आइसोस्पोरा है, तो इसमें आपका एसिड फास्ट स्ट्रक्चर से एसिड फास्ट आपने किया, मॉडिफाइड एसिड फास्ट स्टेनिंग, और आपको उसिस दिख रहे हैं, सो इट इज कंफर्मेटरी. अगर आपको नहीं दिख रहे, यू कैन गो फॉर द पीसीआर एलाइजा ऑल्सो. So that you can see Entamoeba histolytica in wet mount. This is Entamoeba histolytica cyst in iodine mount, and on the top you can see trophozoite are there. Entamoeba histolytica trophozoite in iodine mount. This is Isospora belli in wet mount. Giardia lamblia. So this structure is very important, usually being asked in the practicals. This is being showed and they have been asked Giardia lamblia, what disease it causes. It is very important structure, Giardia and Entamoeba histolytica. Then diagnosis of viruses. So viruses का तो most important इलेक्ट्रॉन माइक्रोस्कोप है सारे viruses का. और क्या कर सकते हैं जो हम easily कर सकें, we can go for the like rotavirus में rapid card भी आ गए हैं, latex agglutination कर सकते हैं. Adenovirus, Astro, in all these we can go for the PCR or ELISA. So this is the rapid test. How we can prevent and we can treat. सो मेन जो इसका ट्रीटमेंट है वो है ओरल डिहाइड्रेशन थेरेपी. डायरिया में आपका मेन जो है आते ही आपको वो नहीं शुरू करना है कि एंटीबायोटिक करना है या वायरल है क्या है. तो मेन आपका सबसे पहले पेशेंट जब आप देख रहे हैं तो आपको पहले उसका फ्लूइड का देखना है कि उसका जो डिहाइड्रेशन का लेवल क्या है. माइल्ड डिहाइड्रेशन, मॉडरेट है कि सीवियर है. माइल्ड है तो वो ORS से भी काम हो जाएगा. मॉडरेट सीवियर में यू हैव टू गो फॉर द फ्लूइड थेरेपी. एप्रोप्रिएट फीडिंग, कीमोथेरेपी. So appropriate feeding and chemotherapy depending on if it is needed. So this is very important. ORS, oral dehydration therapy, depending upon कि mild moderate. So whether it can be आप orally ले सकते हैं या उसको IV fluids देना पड़ेगा. This is very important. Before कि आप एंटीबायोटिक स्टार्ट करें वो डिपेंड करता है कि पैथोजन कौन सा. अगर वायरल है यू डोंट नीड एनी एंटीबायोटिक, वो खुद हो जाएगा. बस आपको जितना वाटर लॉस हो रहा है वो रिप्लेनिश होता रहना चाहिए. दैट इज द एम व्हेन यू आर ट्रीटिंग एनी डायरियल डिजीज. So ORS are available at all the primary health centers and hospitals. अप्रोप्रिएट फीडिंग, नॉर्मल फूड इनटेक होना चाहिए जितना भी बच्चा खा पाए, बड़े लोग या जो भी हैं. नॉर्मल फूड इनटेक जितना आप दे सकते हैं. न्यूबॉर्न्स को ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग प्रॉपर चलता रहना चाहिए. एंड unnecessary antibiotics नहीं देनी है because many times as I have told you rotavirus is the most common cause up till 2 years of age. So वहाँ पे आप एंटीबायोटिक देंगे तो एंटीबायोटिक एसोसिएटेड डायरिया और हो जाएगा. नॉर्मल गट फ्लोरा वैसे ही अल्टर्ड है और अल्टर्ड हो जाएगा. सो इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इफ वी आर फाइंडिंग एनी कॉजिटिव एजेंट कि बैक्टीरियल कॉज है तभी आप उसकी एंटीबायोटिक दें. एंटीबायोटिक जो है जो भी टॉक्सिन्स निकल चुके हैं, जो टॉक्सिन वो रिलीज कर चुका है उसको वो नहीं रोक सकता है तो वो इफेक्ट तो आएगा ही. बट एंटीबायोटिक क्या कर सकते हैं, कैन किल द बैक्टीरिया. बट टॉक्सिन्स जो है कि आगे वो और टॉक्सिन ना सिक्रेट कर सके. बट जो टॉक्सिन ऑलरेडी रिलीज हो चुके हैं दैट इफेक्ट विल कम. सो उसका वो इफेक्ट को थोड़ा सा न्यूट्रलाइज करेगा. सो देन कम्स द वैक्सीन. वैक्सीन्स कुछ कुछ के लिए अवेलेबल है, लाइक कॉलरा के लिए अवेलेबल है, दैट कैन बी given to the children. And for enterotoxin E. coli के लिए भी कुछ नहीं है. रोटावायरस के लिए vaccines are available. Then Shigella. So how we can protect ourselves from contamination, that is the washing hands before and after taking care of patient, isolating the cholera patient, and their stool and vomit is highly contagious. So we have to be very careful and disinfect all their these things. So that is all. I hope you must have learned. Thank you for paying the attention.